And welcome back, everybody, to the final section of the Universal Open Season 2 Western Closed Qualifiers. And we're going to start off with a bang here. Of course, we've got one more game to come, one more qualification spot to get sorted. And that is going to be SizzleUrCob taking on Lights Out. But before we get to that, it's once again, we're bringing you an interview. We did manage to get it sorted, which is good news, gentlemen. We will have Chicago from Applesauce on the line very soon. And I believe he might actually be on the line right now. So, Chicago, can you hear us, friend?
Yes, hello.
How are you doing, mate? You all right? Firstly, congratulations. You made it through. How's it feel?
It feels good. I was been a while since I played 2v2s that seriously, so knowing that I make it, I can still play against all those ranked warriors that are just 2v2 gods. Shows I'm pretty happy.
And it was another Game 5. Obviously, you lost the first Game 5 to G2 Esports B. Sorry to bring that back up again, but were you nervous going into that Game 5 knowing what had happened in the previous series?
Yeah, my track record in Game 7s, Game 5s are just not the best. So on top of that, that Game 4 was very close, and I knew that it was very even. So Game 5, when it was going 50-50, I wasn't too confident, but I wasn't doubting us at all.
Okay, Chiefs?
Yeah, and you guys definitely had a pretty good run through the upper bracket, of course, and then, you know, like you said, you lose that Game 5, and we were kind of talking about how that Game number 3 kind of felt for why can I not think? Because I'm looking at the wrong page on my notes, that's why.
Lethality.
Thank you.
That's all right.
We were talking about how that Game 3 must have felt for Lethality, and I was curious what you guys were thinking moving into that Game number... oh, that was Game number... Yeah, that was Game number 3. Yeah.
Yeah, so
how are you
fine.
I've got it all lined up, I promise. How are you guys feeling after that Game number 3? That was the 8-1 game.
Yeah, Game number 3 felt really good, and Game number 4, I was hoping we could just close it out. But then again, I knew that we couldn't get overconfident and just give up easy breakaway goals. So I think we kind of messed up, and we were a little too scared. So we gave them too much room, and we weren't aggressive enough. So that's why I think the game was so close, and then it ended up just going 1-0 in their favor.
And obviously, you guys have got the regional qualifiers coming up next, the regional final, so to speak. What have you guys got to your advantage? What could you guys do better than the opponents that you've got coming up in the future?
I think we've already been to San Francisco and done this before, and we've made it to the finals. I also think that we're a team that's able to do new stuff every time we play people, so no one can really learn us. And just our ability and chemistry, since we've been playing for so long, is really going to be able to push teams out of competition.
And a final question for you, Chicago. Can you win the whole thing?
I definitely think so. We got to be playing well, but I definitely think it's possible.
Yes, that's what I want to hear. Confidence coming in from Chicago. Thank you so much for joining us, my friend. Congratulations once again, and best of luck in San Francisco as well.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh, what a guy. What a guy. I like to see another confident young man. That's what I like to hear. Voice is deeper than mine. Made me feel a little bit jealous. But,
okay,
you know,
I was about to say, is that like upsetting?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, fantastic performance from them, and always great to hear from these players.
Yeah, Chicago again. Another player that I don't really get to talk to a lot, so it was nice to have a chance to ask him a question or two.
Okay, now let's talk about this next game, Shogun. SizzleUrCob versus Lights Out, the final game of North America. We've been everywhere in North America, and this is our final two teams. Lights Out, they've got it all to do right here. SizzleUrCob obviously coming off the back of a disappointing loss, we have to say, where they were outthought, I think is the best way to put it, as well as outplayed. But Lights Out have got an idea of how to play against SizzleUrCob. Can SizzleUrCob, I did it again! SizzleUrCob come back and answer the questions that we put to them before.
We've already seen these two play. It was a 3-1 win over to SizzleUrCob. But that was very much a very close series, and when it comes to SizzleUrCob, we've already mentioned this once before, we don't know what to expect out of them. They don't know what to expect out of them. And I think we've interviewed Jacob before, and he just said, oh, actually, no, it wasn't Jacob. I think it was Fireburner or Garrett, where he just went, yeah, we don't know what Jacob is doing. We're fairly certain Jacob doesn't know what Jacob is doing. So it's
I was about to go with another like 1998 Premiership analogy there, but I'm just going to leave those at the moment. The Yoboa hasn't caught on it yet, as yet. But sorry.
So he's very much a very crazy player, but he's also starting to hit a level of consistency that has been done outside of the tournament. Like I mentioned, he's recently had like 15-game win streaks going on in ranked, and everyone can tell you just how difficult that is. So if he can try and find that, I think it'll be pretty good. But I also wanted to see him allow Sizz a little bit more room. I feel like There was times where he was taking from Sizz boost, where Sizz could really have done with a little bit. You know, Jacob would have 40 boost, use that 40 to go and take a boost, while Sizz was on maybe 10.
Yeah.
Spread the love a little bit.
It's like it's kind of the difference maker, because that was sort of the inverse of what we saw out of them game number 1. Sometimes Sizz cut off Jacob and left them in a little bit of a bad spot. So you're absolutely right. You don't know which side of the coin you're going to get for these guys, and it's like you know, they subscribe to our personal favorite strategy, and it's hit the ball really hard, and it works out for them most of the time.
And just in case anyone was wondering who is old like me, it was Faustino Asprilla who I was going to bring up as a player. The second, I think it was the third choice Newcastle United striker from their 1998 team.
Check out
How
the
about
brain
that?
on
Wow.
onset.
I used to collect football stickers. Anyway,
Didn't we all?
let's very quick predictions here, gentlemen. Who do you think is going to be our final qualifier here?
Man. You know, if SizzleUrCob goes the same way as they did in the first one, Lights Out wins. But on principle, I think this might be the first week 1 through 4 make it.
Okay, and Shogun?
SizzleUrCob.
SizzleUrCob. Well, it is all set up, gentlemen. It is all ready for our final game of the North American qualifiers. It's a little bit of a sad moment, isn't it? But hopefully these guys who are involved in these two teams can give us an entertaining series to close things out. Of course, this is the final game. Let's get into it right now. SizzleUrCob versus Lights Out, the final game of the North American regional qualifiers. Let's get into this one.
So there's one more spot left. 3 of them already gone. That's going to be a great
man.
start. Jacob just set Sizz up on a silver plate.
Yeah, hit it really hard.
What's the new car? Is that the Endo?
Sizz is driving. Sizz is in the Batmobile. Jacob is in the Cyclone. Is that what that is? Yeah, that's the Cyclone. Yeah. I thought it was the Werewolf yesterday. It's the Cyclone. I have never seen the new the new Typhoon. I don't know, the new crate, because I haven't had a chance to go home and actually play the game.
Aeon tries to get the clear. And the Lights Out have not played once. They've been watching the broadcast ever since this began, waiting for their opportunity to step up. But for SizzleUrCob, this should be their second, and Jacob, I don't know if that first shot was going in.
I think Jacob actually wanted to pinch this one with Sizz just to get it all the way there, and Sizz backed off on him. He's like, oh, have to make an adjustment here. Because, you know, why not throw a little flare? We saw Cronovi with 8 seconds throw on the upside-down wave dash pass, so, you know, why not pinch it from point blank?
Jacob.
Ooh,
Flip reset? Not quite there. Can be difficult to grab hold of on some of the longer cars. Follow-up shot. That had to go in from Nomad. It's a huge opportunity.
Had to go in is absolutely right, because most of the chances you're going to get versus SizzleUrCob are going to be like that. The breakaway, turn around, they're not in position to make a stop.
Sizz in support of Jacob. Jacob doesn't need it, though. And SizzleUrCob, despite the questions being asked of them, are making this one look easy.
Yeah, Nomad trying to cut this one down, but it's just simply too far. And Jacob, the best part is he doesn't overcomplicate anything. It's the simple glance off to your left. Okay, I've got him beat, and just up and over and in.
So just over a minute played, 3 goals to nothing for SizzleUrCob. As we mentioned, last season's 3rd place team. Knocked out earlier on. Down to the lower bracket. Aeon tries to put it long, but Sizz will have it covered. Over to Jacob. Good, quick challenge from Nomad, but that just takes him out from the gameplay. Nomad taking his time. SizzleUrCob have very much slowed down the pace. Only sending 1 player forward. Sizz wants to get a double tap.
Remember yesterday, or day 1, this one was very much a close series. It went 4 games.
Yep.
All of those games, 1-goal affairs.
Right now, it is anything but. Lights Out with all the work to do if they want to try and make a game out of game 1. Leon and Jacob having a bit of a tussle over in the corner, and there's a long clear. So dangerous as he looks for the follow-up. Aeon had to watch as his teammate was out. Great gameplay there. Sizz recognizing the demo and also recognizing that no one was going to be back.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect read from Sizz off the clear. It's saying, look, I know where you're going to put this ball, and Jacob, you know, Jacob's just driving around saying, oh, I can hit this guy, so he does. And it's all on Sizz. Does he put it on target or does he not? And it's a perfect read and a well-deserved goal.
Fake kickoff from SizzleUrCob. This time around, didn't go in the middle. And this means that Lights Out could have the first of few swipes at the net. That's not going to be quite in. SizzleUrCob so comfortable in game number 1.
Yeah, they've actually got all the boost to work with this time.
We mentioned the other day, training weights. It's like they've been forced to play with 0 boost. Now they've got all the boost.
Easiest game ever.
It's almost like a surplus at this point. Look, Sizz just managed to pick up some. He's going to be so happy. This is the first time I've seen him all broadcast with 100 boost.
Yeah, he was not having a good first series. He was definitely struggling to get around that momentum roster that was just stealing away all those corner boosts, and Aeon and Nomad just haven't been able to really push that deep onto the blue side and take those away from him.
Jacob scored one of those incredible angles last time they played against Lights Out, but not this time around. SizzleUrCob just not really feeling the pressure, both in-game and pretty much from the gameplay style from Lights Out, who have not seemed too happy to go into the blue side of the field and try for a challenge. It's like they're actively trying to avoid a 2v1 situation despite being 4 goals down.
Well, the funny thing is, it's again, it just feels like they don't have the boost to really take that coordinated push up the field. It's very much reminiscent of what Sizz and Jacob had to go through in the last series. They just don't have enough in the tank to get those clears upfield and hang on to the ball. They have to spend all that time they buy replenishing the resources just to fight off another push from Sizz and Jacob.
See, the way I would almost argue the other side, though, is that Lights Out haven't had the most stolen from them. They're getting stolen after they missed the pathing the first time around.
Yeah.
So a lot of times where they're just simply not picking up the boost on the way to the ball. They're trying to hit the ball, then move around for the boost so they can take it the next time around. You've got to try and take it in one swift motion and complete both objectives.
That's the hard thing, you know? Do I get the ball or do I hit the boost? Except flip those around, because you should get the boost and hit the ball.
You should always get the boost. No one cares if you concede. If you have 100 boost, it can't possibly be your fault. It's a philosophy that I will live and die upon. Sizz makes it 6-0. This game was done a while back.
Yep.
But it's been pretty decisive up to this point, and still nothing on the side of Lights Out. 0 goals to them. 6 goals to SizzleUrCob.
How did their game 1 go on day 1? I'm curious.
Not like this.
Certainly not like this. We know it was a 1-goal game, but... Oh, that's right. Lights Out won game number 1.
Nomad's still got the ball. Just looking for 1 goal to get something going heading into game number 2.
So it looks like Lights Out won game number 1 in the final minute. It was tied. Actually, SizzleUrCob was ahead 2-1 at the 57-second mark.
I don't think they're dropping this one.
I don't think they're dropping
There's
this one
15
either.
seconds left. If memory serves me correctly, Lights Out did a great job challenging in game number 1 last time, and then suddenly SizzleUrCob adapted to their rotation style and started cutting everything out. This time, SizzleUrCob have returned to being on top. Lights Out have got all the questions to answer.
Yeah, they do, and that must have felt like a big relief for the guys on SizzleUrCob after the last series. They finally were able to get some boost and finally move around the map and do what they wanted to do. It must have been like a big weight off their shoulders.
Yeah, they did. They got the boost. They got to do what they do best, which is challenge aggressively out of the midfield. And again, since they spend all of their time playing against the top people in the world, their speed is just that much faster. Aeon and Nomad are no slouches by any means, but they just don't spend all of their time playing against the best people in the world. And you can see that slight positioning, that slightly slower reaction time on reads on the ball, and it just means they get beat every now and again.
Now, same thing to be said as we said earlier on. I feel like you can judge this game all the way up to 3-0. Everything past that is just, I think both teams recognizing the game was over, there was no real chance of getting back. You definitely saw Lights Out sort of lose some of their spark and their drive to try and get to the ball. But everything until then, SizzleUrCob were just that much faster. They were winning every single challenge. Pretty much couldn't have gone too much worse.
And you got to remember that SizzleUrCob have just played a series as well before this, so they're going to be, you know, nice and warm. Even though it was a disappointing series for them, they would have had the opportunity to assess some things they need to do better, assess some things that they want to keep doing, etc. Whereas Lights Out have had to come into this almost cold as far as tournament play is concerned. So although it wasn't a fantastic performance, we can't take anything away from SizzleUrCob in that first game. I just feel like Lights Out in this game too, it has to be a closer game. I feel like that first one was always going to be them feeling their way back into the tournament.
Yeah, and it definitely needs to turn itself around right now because, again, if you're getting blown out in the first game, Game 2, you need to find an answer. Or if you do lose, it better be a close one. Otherwise, you can kind of write it off at that point.
I mean, do you feel the same? Do you think that this second game is going to take a similar pattern to the first, or do you think that this is going to be a much different performance here from Lights Out? Obviously, it has to be.
I almost feel like if we see a SizzleUrCob goal within the first 30 seconds, the same thing happens again. It will just start to really snowball out of control. This is all down to Lights Out just ensuring that this first minute and a half goes without any goals or a goal for them, because if it goes the other way, I just don't see it. They still haven't put a single goal on the board yet, and it needs to be a slow incremental work up because that last one really hurt.
It really did, and of course this is for the last and final qualification spot for the regionals. It's been a bit of a journey, hasn't it, gentlemen? It has been a journey. Obviously, we have San Francisco coming up. I believe it's next weekend as well. This weekend coming. God, it's here before we know it. So make sure that you tune into that as well. There's loads of action coming from the Universal Open this time, and now it's time to get into our game number 2. I'm hearing in my ear, so we're going to do exactly that. Let's get into a game number 2. Let's see if Lights Out can turn this one around.
We'll start ourselves off. SizzleUrCob with possession of the ball. Something that Jacob became very well known for back in, I believe, Season 4? Or was it Season 3? When they were just going out of their way on NRG just to lose as many kickoffs as possible to give themselves possession. But this is big.
Okay.
Lights Out. First goal. And that is going to give them some hope.
Yeah, just not a really good touch. It's a brilliant play from Aeon to not try and chase that touchdown by his teammate and just take a little bit of extra time there in the midfield to see what was going to happen. And just that initial decision to say, hang on, what do they give me? And he made it work. And that's kind of, it almost feels like if you're not some other world-class team, that kind of has to be the approach versus Sizz and Jacob. It's like, what do they give me?
It's also going to be very hurtful for SizzleUrCob because they had all the momentum coming into this one. They had Lights Out feeling down on themselves. And suddenly you've given them a little bit of hope very early in this game. Sizz with the follow. Oh. And what a shot that is, but it's just not on target. A running theme today has just been great shots.
Denied.
Not quite making it. There's the infield pass. Perfect. That one will be going straight in.
And this is something that we saw out of SizzleUrCob back on the first day that we saw them. A lot of attempts at infield passes, and this time around they're starting off nailing them. Because when they were initially trying them, Lights Out was still giving them a lot of space back in that midfield. And this time around the space is a bit more condensed, but still, Sizz and Jacob nailing these passing plays.
Jacob is a good name.
Jacob.
Not going to go for the opposite way around of that. I'm not going to say it aloud. But that is a great shot from Nomad.
Let's see what happened here.
Sizz managed to get it straight underneath Sizz.
Yeah, Sizz just gave ground. There was no way he was going to be able to turn around. And again, he was having to play defense on limited boost. So he had to take what he was given, and it's perfectly executed by Lights Out.
Aeon. Just pushed it straight to the corner. Lights Out have got their lead re-established. There's the drop down. Aeon goes long, wants to try and test whether or not Sizz can get here, and he can't! Whoa. I don't quite know what stopped Aeon from putting that one in.
Yeah, I was on Sizz's camera, I'm not too sure either. Maybe he got clipped.
Back down. Double commit from SizzleUrCob. Jacob's still on the floor. It's a little bit of a breakdown, though, from SizzleUrCob.
Right back in it, though. Got plenty of boost to work with, and that's a big bump from Nomad. It's going to take Jacob out of the play for a long time. It's free space for Nomad and Aeon.
Nomad. Just can't really put the pressure forward, but they don't need to. If you're on Lights Out. Sizz for the redirect, straight down the middle, but Aeon's not done great with it. Follow it from Jacob, double commit, but it's found a safe zone over in the corner. SizzleUrCob looking for their chance. They've double committed. All down to Aeon. Can he hit the target? No.
And again, We talked about it in game number 1. Those are the ones you have to convert because you're not going to get too many free ones like that. And it would have been a massive insurance goal as well, just past the halfway point.
Race down. Nomad versus Sizz. Sizz winning clean, but he hasn't got the boost, and well, now he hasn't got any sort of car to help him out. Sizz can follow. Jacob forced to back down. Everybody jumping, nobody hitting.
Another free chance. Oh, he couldn't square it up. Aeon got in his way.
2 minutes left on the clock. Follow from Jacob is not making contact. Nomad now versus Sizz. Nomad's got it above. Lights Out taking their time on these transitions, only sending a single player. There's a boost steal. Does seem very familiar compared to their last time these guys played on Tuesday.
Very much more in line with the previous series. I have to agree with that.
Back out. Sizz. Off to
man.
Jacob. Back to Sizz. They just can't quite get these to line up.
But they do love these passing plays. I mean, that's been how they want to approach this game, is get 2 players on opposite ends of the pitch, pass it back and forth, see if we make something happen. That's how they're choosing to go about this.
I really just feel like if they could start to execute a little bit better, there's 3 goals there for taking.
Absolutely.
If you're SizzleUrCob, but the execution just hasn't been there yet.
Yeah,
and they've got to execute it well within this next minute.
Oh, he clipped it.
Jacob's now got it. Sizz is available.
Oh, that's a
And Jacob
bad
wants to
move.
go by himself. That is going to be another easy clear for Lights Out.
Yeah, not a big fan of that attempt from Jacob. He had a little bit of awareness, or maybe Sizz told him where he was. They could have had that one big stop, though, and they might get another chance here with the final 30.
Lights Out. Be very careful with how many they put forward, although they've got a chance to make it too. 30 seconds left. Jacob's got no boost around to help him. Sizz by himself. Sizz was unable to steal any boost. Leaves Lights Out with plenty of resources as they try and hold out for the final few seconds of game number 2. Nomad.
Wow.
Back to the middle. Sizz is on very low. Jacob with the turn, but Aeon's read it, and he's read it well. They've now got to carry from coast to coast, and I don't think they're going to be able to do even that, although the bounce was not quite timed correctly. Still, will finally drop down, and Lights Out have got us at 1 game each.
Yeah, that was more like I was expecting in this series, to be honest with you. That first game, I feel like Lights Out had to kind of get back into tournament play a little bit. They answered back, though, in the perfect fashion.
Now, here's kind of the interesting thing. I still feel like Sizz and Jacob controlled pretty much that entire game. It was really just, like you said, the execution of those passes. And again, at the end of that game, you said Sizz didn't steal the boost, and that was actually a lot more important than it looked, because when they turned around and got that second and kind of second and a half, not quite a full third opportunity, he didn't have any boost to work with because he missed that boost steal. That last 10, 12 seconds could have netted far more for Sizz and Jacob if that pathing was just cleaned up a little bit.
The Lights Out, I mean, they're playing well, but they are very much relying on Sizz and Jacob underperforming.
And again,
a little bit.
Lights Out missing, I think they only had 1, maybe 2 breakaways in that game. Could have easily been a 4-1 game for Lights Out.
Now, that being said, you're on a team that's, like, they're sort of hoping that SizzleUrCob are underperforming, but they kind of are. And that's helping. They're coming in off this from a 3-game loss. They're struggling to execute. The only real risk that comes from Lights Out is that that switch can get flipped at any moment from SizzleUrCob. We've seen it happen plenty of times before. They're playing with fire right now, allowing SizzleUrCob to have so much possession of the ball. But for the time being, it works, but it's a very tentative time being.
Do you roll the dice again is the question, and obviously my answer is no. You can't afford to give any space to any top-level player. It's like you keep giving them chances, they're going to start scoring.
I mean, just look at game number 1.
Exactly.
I mean, that's how quickly things can turn around. We've seen basically both sides of SizzleUrCob so that we've seen throughout the tournament so far, to be honest with you. We've seen the fantastic, the brilliant in game 1, where everything seemed to work for them, and then things just not clicking for whatever reason just a few minutes later. So it's just a matter of consistency for me. Lights Out do manage to, I'm going to say, steal away game number 2, because I still feel like the chance is heavily in the favour of SizzleUrCob. But now, the swing game, I mean, we talk about it, and we've seen how SizzleUrCob, when they've been under pressure, have struggled a little bit. If Lights Out take this one, I mean, it really does become anyone's game. They've got 2 potential match points.
And no one would have seen it
And
coming.
No one would have seen it coming, exactly.
Last season's third-place finishers out in the closed qualifiers.
Not even making it to LAN.
And then, of course, on that note as well, we get our one upset of the week.
That is true. And if it does happen, something's weird.
So here's, here's the question I want to put to
terrifying.
both of you, because I know my answer. We haven't got the Joker card with us this week.
We do not
Do
have the Joker
either
card.
of you want to put the Joker card on Lights Out? Onset, I'm going to you first.
No.
No? The Chiefs.
I was willing to put the Joker card on Lights Out if they played
He's already
Momentum.
played. He's already played.
I played
this.
it earlier.
Oh,
I
he
played
did,
it
didn't
earlier.
he?
And now that that scenario is gone, I'm not allowed to play too.
Okay, I'm not playing it either.
I always try and back the team who are trying to force the momentum in games, trying to take the game by the scruff of the neck. And I feel like SizzleUrCob had enough chances to win that game. It was just a case of not taking them.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I think if you go into game number 3, they play like that and just they get a couple of goals on in the back of the net early on. All of the confidence again that Lights Out have gathered from that game number 2 is going to disappear again.
Yeah, I have to agree with that entirely. And as you mentioned, SizzleUrCob are the team making the opportunities at this point in time. However, it needs
I know
to
what you
stick.
mean.
It
You don't
needs
know
to
what's
stick.
the-
It's
yeah.
so scary because you see things like this happen and you just say to yourself, if Lights Out get that first goal, they can sit back even more. They can allow... you know they shouldn't, but they will. And that means SizzleUrCob will take that space. They will double commit at some point, and that might offer a second one.
And maybe that time they'll turn it in because they've missed it.
This is such a toss-up of a series.
It really is.
It's a clash of styles, isn't it?
It's less a clash of styles and more a clash of who executes better. Because SizzleUrCob, you already know what they're going to do. We've seen them do it all the time. It's like one of them's going to try and dribble, then they're going to stop and try and cross an infield pass. And it's like, okay, do Lights Out save it? Sure. Do they get a breakaway? Maybe. Do they turn it in? Maybe. I don't know.
Well, let's find out. Let's get into our game number 3. Tied up at 1-1 at the moment. SizzleUrCob taking on Lights Out.
Well, I hope you at home have been enjoying this just as much as we have. It's been a great day 3 so far. Now, this is the 3rd game of this series. As Onset mentioned, this is the swing game. Whoever wins this has got match point and could very well be on their way to the regional finals. Jacob struggling to take control of the ball. Aeon makes it awkward for Sizz. He still does well enough. Now Jacob tries to force the challenge. It's off the backboard. Sizz will be moving forward, but it's so far wide.
And it's strange to see Jacob, especially as he's been the one mostly doing it, taking these, air dribble attempts and using so much boost on them. And, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just, is it always the most optimal approach to a play?
It's a question that we will find an answer to. It's Jacob. Far side. Sizz is in support. Out there, but he just can't reach it. And now it's time for the typical SizzleUrCob chase back to your own net.
Do they recover?
On target, double commit, but they found a safe part of the net, and SizzleUrCob, as always, they play with fire. This time around, they've got away with it.
It's amazing to see a team risk so much and still make it back.
Second attempt tried by Sizz.
It's way wide. They're fine.
Gonna try and drop this straight down on target. Releasing the position that Aeon could take a shot. Those roll-ups definitely helped out. SizzleUrCob are really taking their own destiny and futures into their own hands, although Jacob, not a great touch. Nomad one-on-one against Sizz. Good flick, it's going to drop straight down. And Aeon wants absolutely no look at that rebound, although Nomad, I think he tried to half-rotate, he's got core.
Let's see. We'll go back and take, upon further review, he went out for the corner. He missed it. His pathing was off in the midfield. He was trying to pick up the midfield boost. He missed it, and he turned around to try and get it instead of continuing onto the corner. Tough one.
The shiny thing of Rocket League strikes again.
The greatest bait in the whole game.
Now Sizz tries to fake out. He's got past one. Got the flick, but Aeon holding his line well. Last time SizzleUrCob got the first goal, they just went on to dominate and decimate. And they'll be looking to do it yet again. Jacob going to target man. Good shot. It's on target, but it's not fast enough to really test Nomads. for the pass down, but this will be shadowed by Sizz.
Ooh.
Nomad.
Oh, not a fan of that.
Like he could have just taken that one to the wall or towards a boost in the midfield.
Yeah, they really could have held on to this ball a lot better.
Oh,
What is going on from SizzleUrCob in that corner?
Nothing good.
Nothing good at all there. Now back into the defense. Nomad, just too close to the net. Doesn't feel like Lights Out are really looking for the passing option.
There's no game plan. They get on offense and they hit the ball just to hit the ball because they have to, because Jacob and Sizz are right there, but there's no intent behind it. They're just trying to not get beat.
Good challenge. Infield pass attempted. So 1-0 still the scoreline. Just over a minute and a half left. Is that going to change?
Okay.
Yes, it is. Lights Out take it to 1 goal apiece.
This is a brilliant shot from Aeon. Takes a great roll and stays with it off the read on the corner, and Jacob and Sizz, they both go up the back wall. Wouldn't have made a difference. The difference maker there is the perfect placement from Aeon.
1 goals each. 1 game each as well. Who has got that one little bit of extra magic? Sizz. Was on target, but Jacob tried to give it a little bit more power. Aeon tries to clear it straight back into half of Sizz to Jacob.
Oh, man.
Top left-hand corner.
It's the exact same thing that Lights Out had a problem with. There's too much space between that midfield line and the top of the box. No man needs to be out there to challenge that ball. He had about 50 boost. And again, they give all the space in the world to Jacob and Sizz to pass the ball out to the middle and fire a rocket at the net and dare them to save it.
I feel like if you're Aeon, you just shouldn't be lamping it, though, when you're in the corner. There's a smarter play around. There's a passing play. There's a chance to take the ball into your own control. Just, you know SizzleUrCob have got control of the midfield. So now 2 goals to 1. Lead re-established for SizzleUrCob with 50 seconds left. Trying to find a way out. And they will do exactly that. Nomad trying to chase down, but it's going to be Aeon with all the questions to answer. One question that he won't be able to answer is how much boost he's got. He's finally picked up 100. The Lights Out need one big coordinated play to try and break down SizzleUrCob.
Oh, they backed out. Had a chance to challenge Sizz. Thankfully, he didn't get a good touch.
Now for infield pass, too close to the defenders.
Pass to Aeon.
Got to try and put these a little bit more laterally. Once again, they keep going forwards. And now just attempting to time waste. Sizz will be by himself.
Last chance.
Just over the top, but it's another wasteful touch. Jacob,
double
though,
commit.
put it straight back over. But they will be able to see that ball to the floor. SizzleUrCob with a late goal to take the win.
A late goal to take the win indeed, but that late goal means they're just 1 game away now from being our final qualifier, not only from the Western region, but also from the entirety of North America. But a tight game again. This game 2 and 3 have been incredibly tight, but again, you have to say that Lights Out are just allowing SizzleUrCob to do too much. It's
the same thing. I mean, do you give them space? Do they convert it? The answer in this game was absolutely. Aeon and Nomad had a couple of chances on net. Were they quality chances? Not really. It took a spectacularly placed shot to the far post from a tough angle for them to score.
Yeah, and a lot of time we're seeing Lights Out go forward. Touches are very heavy from them, and even when they do go forward with a coordinated plan of attack, the execution has actually sort of been worse than SizzleUrCob's was in game number 2, because they're just going straight. The passes are straight onto the hood of the opponents, and Sizz and Jacob are just saying, well, thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
These passes have got to be lateral. You've got to get them straight over to your teammate, because if not, it's a waste.
Okay, question for you two gentlemen now is, will we see a Game 5 again here? Will we have 3 Game 5s to round out North America, or do you think that SizzleUrCob are going to finish this one now?
You've got the potential for a Game 5. I'm still the believer offense is the driving force behind Rocket League. If you are on offense, you are far more likely to win. And so far, I haven't really seen Lights Out been on offense. They've scored a grand total of 3 goals in these 3 games. SizzleUrCob have commanded everything, and I think it ends here.
Okay, Shogun, very, very quickly, what are your thoughts? Are we going to see this finish now?
I really want a Game 5. I'm going to try and use the power of the caster curse.
Okay.
So I'm going to say no.
Okay.
In the hopes of
Yes. A secret yes. Okay then, well it all comes down to this for Lights Out. They need to win this next game if they want to send it to a game 5. SizzleUrCob have a chance of finishing it off now. It's time for our game number 4. Once again, Achieved and Shogun.
So Lights Out have to win this one to send us to game number 5. Jacob seems to be struggling a little bit on the wall, but wasn't challenged until so much later. SizzleUrCob can hold on to the midfield, and now they've got a shooting opportunity. Not well dealt with by Lights Out. Sizz going to the midfield, and he's going to go all the way back. I think he was hoping maybe that midfield boost would finally turn up, and it has, but it's turned up for Aeon.
Wow. Aeon really hesitant to challenge that ball from Sizz. It was in an awkward spot, too.
We haven't seen Aeon and Nomad anywhere near this nervy when it comes to challenging against anyone else other than SizzleUrCob. Do you feel like the name value is coming into this a little bit?
It could. I mean, it's just like, you know what they're capable of, and it's like, might as well give myself a little bit of a buffer room, so if it's anything, it might be that.
Sizz goes along. Aeon tries to tap straight down for his teammate. In fact, he will keep it on by himself. Jacob follows up his own touch. Still no goal scored just yet.
Ooh.
It's a big missed touch, though. A big no touch from Nomad. Follows up shot from Sizz. And Jacob to the far corner. Passes it off to Sizz and just off target.
It's the same thing. They get one clean pass across the top of the box. They try and convert it, and Nomad and Aeon are trying to cover so many different options.
Double tap attempt from Aeon.
Nailed
it.
Perfect shot here from Aeon. They finally get one breakaway. They earn the space in the midfield. Jacob is a little bit late, and Aeon's thinking the whole way. All right. Don't miss this one, because we've missed enough of these, and he squares it up.
So 1-0 up now for Lights Out.
Do you hold on?
Well, they're going to have to. Struggled to score multiple goals in the last few games.
4th goal in the series right there.
Averaging 1 goal per match so far. This could be their opportunity for number 2. It's not bouncing too nicely for them. Aeon with the setup. And Nomad actually did try for that.
I like it.
It's not a huge amount of aggression, but it's something that we haven't seen much from them throughout this series. And as you did mention, though, Chiefs, it's better. You've got to do it. 1-0 is not good enough. And as we've just seen right there.
1-0 absolutely will not be good enough here in game number 4. And Nomad wants the boost first, takes that nasty hop. He was really hoping for that one to roll up. And, you know, Sizz coming out of the midfield gets the fortunate bounce for him. And, you know, he can always score that one.
Sizz with ball control, trying to go for the air dribble, force a player out and get the follow-up touch from Jacob, but instead it will be going over to Aeon. Another good challenge from Jacob. That could drop down in a danger zone. SizzleUrCob locking down the midfield. Sizz has got another one. Cut out just in time by Nomad. Now we transfer to the blue side of the field. Nomad is gone. Aeon's got a lot of work to do by himself. And that heavy first touch certainly will not help.
Missed touch right there. It's going to buy a lot of time for Lights Out to recover here. And it works out. That one missed touch from Sizz, if he catches that cleanly, that one's in the back of the net.
SizzleUrCob have gone from not being able to score the infield passes to them being intercepted. It feels like if there was an opportunity to score them, that opportunity has gone. Aeon dodges away from the potential bump and takes away the ball from Sizz. Great play from him.
But it was a great mix-up from SizzleUrCob. Jacob over the top into the middle of the net. So yes, the mix-up in the midfield gets Lights Out to bite. They've seen that infield pass so many times. It looked like they were setting up for it one more time, and they peeled it off. Jacob went for a demo, forced him to jump. They get that little extra opportunity, and they convert it the second time through.
Just do what's familiar, and then pivot very slightly. So Lights Out find themselves down in a game that they must win. They've got just over 1 minute and 40 seconds to do it, and they've got it back already. Lights Out really making SizzleUrCob fight for this.
Nomad, a great first touch. Takes it away from Jacob and thinks about the pass, and, I mean...
You don't hit them better.
Yeah. Brilliant shot.
Sometimes you don't have to get a huge amount of power, despite my preachings.
The changeup is just as good.
Jacob, he's still got boost, and he might have a thing of beauty coming his way. Sizz looking for the follow-up. To their credit, Lights Out every single time an air dribble has come towards them. They've done a great job of only really needing one player for the challenge and then using the second one to tidy up, although that could have been intercepted much worse, and it has been. Jacob with the follow-up. And Lights Out caught on the very weak pass.
Yeah, well, the only reason it's weak is because Nomad came off that sidewall with no boost, tried to make something with nothing in the tank. And, you know, you hate to see people give up on a ball like that because, I mean, you and I both know, if he would have just given up on that ball, we would have been like, wow, they gave him the ball away. But at the same time, there was nothing going, and sometimes you got to cut your losses. Just is doubly unfortunate that they would have had to do it on their own half. And I think taking the active defense approach was a little bit better there, despite it not working out.
Especially because this now leaves them trailing by a goal yet again. SizzleUrCob looking to book their tickets to the regional finals. Infield attempted. Jacob, if he won that challenge, that could have been 2 goals up for SizzleUrCob. Cooks a pinch attempted from Sizz. Nomad.
Free ball here.
Wanted that.
Oh, it was free.
Off the backboard. Jacob's not there for the follow-up. There will be Nomad. It's a looping shot. Once again, Lights Out needed a little bit better. Infield pass to Nomad, and it's just
2 in a row.
Not there. Lights Out. Great build-up play. No finish so far.
Had a wide open net on the left-hand side. Got a great infield pass play and flubbed them both, and that might be what cost him. Last chance.
Off the side, Jacob. Keeping up high, Nomad needs to keep this off the floor.
Oh, here it is.
They know the passing spots, it's gonna drop down. SizzleUrCob are through to the regional finals.
They've done it. They've made it. They finally close out the series. Commiserations to Lights Out. They will unfortunately not be making it through to the regional finals, but a massive congratulations to our final North American qualifier, SizzleUrCob. I mean, it was hard work for them.
Yeah.
But they made it. That's the most important thing.
Hard work and almost to a point tedious work. You know, it was so many attempts down on the other side, and Nomad and Aeon hung on as long as they could. But you know, eventually the pressure got to them, and Jacob and Sizz broke them down over and over again. Again, a lot of 1-goal games in this series. It was just fortune favors the offense, and Jacob and Sizz commanded that all series long.
Yeah, I think you've made a great point there. It was less a game of Rocket League and more just watching a team try and chisel away at a brick, waiting for it to just break down. And that's what happened from Lights Out. They were very good at keeping the games going, but lack that killer instinct. And I think that's something that they need to go looking for. They do want to be making it into the next round of these tournaments, and unfortunately for Lights Out, the story remains the same. They
So
are
close.
So close.
Still very much,
making it.
still very much the bridesmaid, unfortunately. But hey, it's better to be the bridesmaid than not be invited to the wedding at all. That's how I see it. But I mean, you know, improvements from them there. That's the team who placed 3rd in the Universal Open last season. To take them, you know, to find yourself with a shot of qualifying for that LAN event. They can't be too disappointed. Yes, they're obviously going to be disappointed with not making it.
If I'm Lights Out, I'm just like...
It's one of those things, but, you know, if you get better every time, then you've got something to build on. But
eventually.
Good news is that there were 85 goals scored today, so thanks to our partners over at Soil, that means 850 meals will be donated to the World Food Programme USA for the final time today. If you want to get involved, and we hope that you do, head over to wfpusa.org/...
Universal Open.
Universal Open. That's the first time that I've tried to catch one of you out in a while. All right, next thing, gentlemen, it's going to be our State Farm assist of the day. It has been an exciting day. What are we thinking? What comes to mind? What pops to mind? Shogun looks scared.
Yeah, Chiefs, go first.
I feel like it's something early on in the day, because I feel like we were quite impressed with one of those goals. Could I tell you which one it is? No. But I feel like
one of the goals today.
I feel like it's early on in the day, in the first 2 series.
Okay, this Shogun's currently going...
Okay,
I can see his mind
Series
warping.
3, Game 2.
Okay, so I'm going to cut this off right now. Basically, they have no idea. So let's find out
end up being right,
what our State Farm assist
Series 3, Game 2, Goal 1
is. I want to know what it is. What is it, gentlemen? Here we go. The tension is palpable.
SizzleUrCob and
it's Game 1.
Game Series 2! Oh, is it going to be the dribble?
That's what I said. Series 2, Game 1.
Oh, yeah, it's the dribble where he just made... It's the dribble from, of course, Miho, where he made Jacob look absolutely silly.
I think if we can have like an unofficial award as well, Miho was the player of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
He did awesome.
So impressive across the board, and congratulations to Miho there, taking home the State Farm assist of the day. Impressive performance from him. You said player of the day, was it?
I would say player of the day for Miho.
Oh,
Would you agree?
I agree, yeah.
100%?
He did great. He covered a lot of things on defense, created so many opportunities on offense, as of course you just saw. He did excellent on both sides of the pitch.
Okay, well, let's have a final brisk bracket update for today. And, of course, it'll be the final one for the North American qualifiers. Here it is, then. The right-hand side is all you need to be interested in. Our 4 qualifiers are there. G2 Esports B, Momentum, SizzleUrCob, and Applesauce. The top 4 seeds, they make it through.
Finally.
We didn't think it would happen, but it's happened. It's almost an upset in itself. There we go. There's our upset for this week.
And it's happened in the week that we thought had the most depth.
Yeah, right?
The one time we thought it was not too top-heavy,
Hey, I mean-
ended up being very top-heavy.
I mean, look at some of the scores, though. I mean, G2 Esports B, 3-2 over Applesauce, a game 5 there. The Momentum SizzleUrCob series, that was a strange series. Massive congratulations to the way that Momentum played that one.
Yeah.
SizzleUrCob lights out 3-1, we just saw there, but another game 5 there between Applesauce and Lethality. It was tight, it was close. Unfortunately, you know, for some of the teams who didn't make it, they didn't make it, but there's always next year, hey?
Always next year. And, you know, that's all you can ask for. A couple of great showings from teams that we didn't know much about. Of course, Lethality, the big one that sticks out. Lights out again. Admirable performance. But again, you'll have to come back in. And it's always great. Because there's always one team that comes out here that, you know, we know nothing about. And they perform brilliantly. And I think the honorable mention has to go to Lethality, I think.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. A great showing from those guys, and I'm looking forward to seeing them again next season, hopefully as well. It looks like we're going to have an interview coming up with Sizz as well from SizzleUrCob. So the first part of that name, I mean, he's coming first. He wants to get on the interviews. I respect that. So we're getting that set up as soon as we can. But I want to talk about next week, gents. It's the final. Do you know what? It's actually kind of sad. I mean,
yeah.
Firstly, congratulations to all the North American teams who have made it through to the regional finals, and those who have already qualified from the regionals for the grand final. But let's talk about next week, because yes, we are in London. Yes, we're both from Europe. Achieves, you've had your fun now.
Oh, I love Europe. I cut my no, I'm not even kidding. Like I cut my teeth.
Though, right?
I cut my teeth in the community, like casting like all Europe. So like I'm all over it too. I totally get it.
It's exciting. Shogun's been sitting there like this, like literally bouncing up and down for like a few weeks now. And, I mean, we talked about your sort of standout performance from North America. Anything that's popped up in the last few games that kind of impressed you? Well, I'll tell you what. We've gone for favourites. We've gone for favourites as in favourites to win the thing. We've gone for favourites as in people who have entertained us. Who do you think the underdog is coming out of North America here?
Ooh,
As in the one that you think...
The one that might upset some teams.
In the regionals coming up this weekend?
Regionals
Momentum.
Momentum.
Yeah, Momentum. Yeah, it'd have to be.
Okay.
Because,
so-
you know, they were the team that hit Shogun and I were both like, nah,
Well,
maybe
you
not.
were.
Whoa,
Let's not drag me down here.
I was
I'm onto
absolutely,
that.
I
I'm
was
onto
absolutely
that,
like,
Chiefs.
nah. You can call me out. I was like, no chance.
I had my lovely picket fence, and I was sat on top of
I
it.
can't believe they just tried to drag you into that. It was like,
I
yeah,
was
me
on-
and Shogun, you know, we called this, and you were like, what?
Look, I got to be on the fence for day 2, so I had to buckle down on day 3 and make a call.
I can't believe that our final upset of the North American regional qualifiers was the fact that all of the top seeds made it through, which was an upset in itself. Any shout-outs for any players that you've been impressed with? Some maybe the lower tier players that...
Already said it. Lethality. J-Bot
Lethality.
and...
J-Bot was insane.
Lion Blaze.
Yes.
Both of them. J-Bot and Lion Blaze. Really want to see them make a good show here. Hopefully they have a team for the rival series. Would love to see them compete, and if not this year, definitely next year.
Yeah, I think we've just had so many...
And of course, King Doom.
Yeah, King Doom was great. I think we've had so many great upsets for this entire time. And how far Lethality went, that was an upset. CLG taking it was a little bit of an upset, but the biggest upset of the week was having to say Cal Poly Slow Mona
Cal Poly Slow
so many times over and over.
Don't think I managed to say it cleanly once. So
I think you got
there is
one.
that.
I'll give you one.
Yeah, that was the one where I literally held this up and was like, there it is. One thing I wanted to ask you is most entertaining moment for you from the American qualifier, because I have mine.
Wow. So, I think week 1, just the experience of getting to sit here and listen to you two jaw at each other was brilliant. That was great.
Shogun, you're going to hold on to yours right now because we have Sizz on the line, I believe. Sizz, my friend, can you hear us?
What's up, guys? Yeah, I
Yo,
can
what's
hear you
up?
guys.
Firstly, congratulations. You've made it through. It's been a fight for you guys, but congratulations. How does it feel, buddy?
It feels pretty good, to be honest. I haven't been in Atlanta in a while, but I mean, before we played today, I knew we were gonna make it instantly because I went to 7-Eleven and grabbed a brisk, and I drank that so fast. I felt like a god today. Oh my!
Oh,
Easiest win of my life.
This guy needs to get on the broadcast team. Yeah. I see is trying to take my job. Achieves.
Yeah, you guys played a great series today. Again, you got to rematch Lights Out, of course.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like it was kind of a repeat a little bit of your day one rematch versus those guys. It felt like you guys just had a lot of space to work with. Did you really feel like you were under any pressure from Lights Out?
They had some good pressure on us in some games. The first game was an absolute blowout, but after that, they kind of slowed down their pace. I think they kind of realized like we were beating them to every ball, so they slowed down their pace and like they started playing like a different style, and it was working for them. So we kind of changed up ours as well and just started to like focus more on dribbling, and it ended up working really well in our favor.
And obviously, I feel like there's a lot of people when you get to the next round that really want to see the match between you guys and G2 Esports B. Should you take on those guys, do you win?
Yeah, I mean, last time we
Yeah,
played
of
them at
course.
LAN.
Last
Last time we played G2 at LAN, I like basically 1v2'd them. So I think it'll be pretty easy this time as well.
I respect that. I always respect. And final question from me: where do you get something made that's your own name on the wall behind you?
Oh, yes.
I forgot that was there.
Yeah, whatever. He set that
I didn't
camera
even
angle
know.
up
Listen,
perfectly.
so no, let me explain that.
Okay.
So like my mom bought it for me, and I was like, I don't want this thing because like it looks dumb.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like woke up one day and it was just there, and like it's like nailed to the wall. So I'm like, all right, well that's staying there now. I'll stick with it.
I think it looks cool. I'm gonna get my own name on the wall. That's what I'm aiming for. But yeah,
Next
finally,
week.
congrats. Yeah, we're just gonna remove all of this. It's just gonna be onset and lights. But congratulations, my friend, for making it through. Best of luck at the LAN, and hopefully we'll see you at the finals as well.
Thank you very much. See you guys there.
Okay, then that's going to do it from Sizz.
I told you, they're a lot
want
of fun.
that, man.
They're a lot of
Can we
fun.
get that sorted? Like, I want onset my name in lights.
So
I just
if
nearly pulled the
I
TV
can
off the
find a
wall
way
there,
of like chiseling that to say onset
I
instead.
I don't think you're allowed to play with sharp objects.
I'm barely allowed to play with blunt objects.
Exactly. But fantastic to hear from Sizz there, of course. So we have our qualifiers. We have everything done. There's only really one thing left to do, and that is to get
European regionals.
You two, well, for today, let's get your final thoughts on what you've seen from North America. And
you got to see
that's it, really.
the wide breadth of NA, because you know there's a reason that it's chopped up into 4 regions. There's just so many different players, and there's top level players across the entire country. And it's a little bit sad that Europe only gets 3 days, because there are some awesome teams that are not going to be able to make it. But it was great to see just how many people across all of North America that are quality players and can put up a fight, even if they're not the best players in the world.
And Shogun, I'm not going to actually ask your final thoughts. I'm just going to, because I forgot, I didn't quite get your most entertaining moment of the North American qualifiers.
You've put me back on the spot. I know we didn't want it out there, but Singing Queen.
Yeah,
Okay,
that was a moment.
For those who are wondering, it's when we all lost it because the car became really funny. Anyway, that is going to do it all for today. Let us know what your favourite moments have been from the North American qualifiers using the hashtag UOS2, and let us know what teams you think are going to make it through from Europe, because it's going to be a very, very difficult one to judge. Also, remember to follow us at Universal Open over on Twitter. Before we are back for the final week of the qualifiers, it's time for Europe to step up next week. Who's going to make it through? I've got no idea. None of us have any idea, but we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.